bringing news that matters to you. You're watching the Bahamas Tonight Northern Edition.
Good evening, Bahamas, and welcome to the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. I'm Shashina Roll. Thank you for tuning in. Topping news, a big celebration launched yesterday in honor of the country's 40th anniversary of independence. As promised, the local committee kicked off the festivities with a service of Thanksgiving. The nation's leader was among those in attendance. It was a time of celebration and Thanksgiving, as many gathered for the official launch of the country's 40th anniversary of independence. Churches and schools throughout the community participated in the special service through song, dance, and the reading of the Word. But it was Reverend Keith Meadows who led the service in a special prayer, covering this nation and its leaders.
Particularly our Governor General, our Prime Minister and leader of the opposition. Give them wisdom to know what is right and courage to do it.
For Charles Carter, national co-chairman of the Independence Committee, the service held special significance. 40 years ago, he says he had the opportunity to help determine the color of the flag, the motto, and the national anthem.
No other generation will ever have that opportunity. And so when the Prime Minister called me and asked me if I would be a part of this year's independence ceremonies, I felt especially privileged because I was there at the beginning. And I know that this is a new beginning for me because this is the end of my service to this community. And this is one time I want to make it, not only make it good, but try to make it last as well. Because our country needs older people like me and some of you to guide some of our young people along the way.
In a reflective presentation, Minister of Tourism Obi Welshcombe talked about the many Grand Bahamians who made this island what it is today, but he says the journey continues.
And that is why these 40 years we have to capture it. We have to ensure that people understand where we came from. That we just didn't come here with the PLPs or with the F&Ms. We came as a people. It wasn't black people, it wasn't white people, it was a people. It was a country that made a difference. And that is why the Prime Minister has taken so much effort in causing this to be a celebration that we'll all remember. That to see those young people participating today tells us that we're doing the right thing, because they too must feel the journey.
The nation's leader agrees. He says the Bahamian people must know their history and added that the country must identify the national heroes who fought to make a difference.
Who are those people? What is their life story? Who gave this country its soul? Who were defining figures in the country? Who were defining figures in the East, defining figures in the West? And then when Grand Bahama came about, and by that I mean when Freeport came about and the nation focused on the inequities that existed in Freeport, that's when other heroes emerged, defining historical moments occurred. But who's writing about it?
In a highly charged sermon, pastor of Jubilee Cathedral, Bishop Godfrey Williams, highlighted the significance of the number 40, sharing that the number is symbolic of trials and testing. But he noted that God is about to take this country to another level.
Does not matter what you see now. God is on the move. Even though God led us in the wilderness, I am here to tell you he's about to lead us out of the wilderness, whereby prosperity is at hand. Oh, glory be to God. I see, as I ask the people of God to arise and shine. For thy light has come. The glory of the Lord now has risen upon the Bahamas.
The 40th anniversary of independence will be held under the theme, The Bridge to the Future, the Journey Continues. But the Deputy Prime Minister, Philip Davis, says for that to happen, Bahamians must plan the way ahead.
We must look forward through the lens of our future And note that the time is now to modernize our laws, for example. Self-sufficiency and expansion through agriculture and farming is the way forward. We have too much land in the Bahamas that must not go to waste. It is time to grow our own food. We must seek out the great potential of the Bahamas and secure our place around the world, examining linkages through industries and raw materials from the earth. And yes, also claiming our place on that world stage through culture.
Now, the Minister for Grand Bahama, Dr. Michael Darville, also addressed yesterday's service. He says Grand Bahama can look forward to the best independence celebrations ever, and he also had a few words of encouragement.
And with the full support of my ministry, they are ready to take the message of our rich history and culture from east to west Grand Bahama. We invite all Grand Bahamians from all walks of life to participate in these activities, which will provide opportunities for cultural and historical enrichment while creating economic boosts for our outlying communities.
Well, tonight the Local Independence Committee will kick off a series of town meetings designed to recognize some of the unsung heroes in our community. This evening's meeting gets underway at 7 o'clock at the Foster B. Pastina Center. Co-chairman Peter Adderley says they want to single out persons who have made a significant contribution to the growth and the development of Grand Bahama.
I feel a sense of obligation, and so does my committee, to do what is right during these celebrations, to celebrate the achievements of Grand Bahamians and what Grand Bahama has done. And more than people, even places. The YMCA field is historic. In '73, that's when the first Bahamian Governor General came to the field for the celebrations. And so places, things, people, we're just going to celebrate this island and have a wonderful time. And we want Bahamians to open their hearts, their minds, and to be a part of all these celebrations.
Well, tomorrow night, a similar town meeting will be held at the 8 Mile Walk Gym for residents of the 8 Mile Walk community. Adderley says the meetings will travel to every major district to determine who will be selected.
Not big names, not politicians, but unsung heroes and those who are well noted. We want persons to come out during this 40th and speak to their contributions. Candice Culmer is one of the top 9 players in the world. One of the top 9 softball players, not in the Bahamas, not in this region, in the world. And so it goes on and on of how many achievements we have in Grand Bahama.
Well, it was a big weekend for members of the opposition. The Free National Movement party officials traveled to Grand Bahama for activities in honor of the party's founder, the late Sir Cecil Wallace Whitfield. The party hosted a series of events in memory of Sir Cecil, including a luncheon, church service, and youth night celebration. On Saturday afternoon at a press conference, FNM leader Dr. Hubert Minnis told the media that the party remains committed to the dream of Sir Cecil, which he believes is needed to build a better Bahamas.
Cecil had a vision at that particular time, of which the College Bahamas, or of which education played a most pivotal role moving forward with the vision. And we came here today to express our vision moving forward, so as the entire body would understand the vision of Sir Cecil and the vision we have moving forward. The role especially College Bahamas and university would play, the role the young people would play, moving the young people into a pivotal role so that they would become owners of this Bahamas, so that they would become important entities and play leadership role as we move forward.
Now, the FNM also plans to begin a listening tour of the Family Islands to discuss the party's vision with constituents and hear firsthand how they hope the party can keep Sir Cecil's dream alive. The party's deputy leader, Loretta Butler-Turner, says she's more than honored to take part in the celebrations.
One must know their history if you plan to move to a fruitful future. And Sir Cecil being the epitome and the beginning of what the F&M truly embodies, I think that that is a history that we must make sure is told to every F&M. One of the things that we have had challenges within this party is to ensure that F&Ms truly know the history of our party. As you look around this room and as you remember the life of Sir Cecil Wallace Whitfield, we're immersed in history, and we realize that with that history, we then know that the road that we must follow in going forward, just as the leader has spoken to the vision of Sir Cecil, we must realize that that is a vision that we must keep alive.
A church that has been a part of the Grand Bahama community for more than 3 decades was literally on fire this weekend. Zion Baptist Church on East Sunrise Highway incurred serious damage after a brush fire apparently got out of control on Friday night. Pastor of the church, Reverend Peter Pinder, says he became aware of the nearby brush fire around 5 on Friday afternoon, and when he left that evening, fire officials were still on the scene.
Around 6 p.m. and the fire was pretty much under control. I returned about 8:30 p.m. just to check, and there were small patches of fire in the nearby bush, but the fire near the church had been seemingly completely extinguished. I returned again about 9:30 p.m. and it was pretty similar as it was at 8:30, but I'd called the fire department between that time to let them know that I was still concerned about the presence of small patches of fire in the nearby bushes. And then I got a call about 4:15 a.m. this morning to say that the church was on fire.
Pinder says the church was preparing for extensive renovations, and he's taking this recent turn of events in stride.
I'm like this. All things work together for good to those who love the Lord. And I believe that this is an opportunity for us to rebuild and to build something even bigger. We were preparing for renovations, actually, and we were going to do extensive renovations on the inside. But this will allow us not only to do what we were trying to do with the renovations, but to extend so that we would have an even bigger facility.
Now, this is the second major church fire within the past 4 months. The Church of God Temple on Peachtree Street was damaged by fire in November of last year. The fight between the Bahamas Industrial Engineers Managerial and Supervisory Union and the Grand Bahama Power Company continued today, just as promised by President of the Union, Pedro Edwards. Edwards says the union and the power company have yet to come to an agreement to a settlement regarding termination payments, or what he called selective discrimination and other issues. Now, the union says they plan to take their cause to even greater heights.
The only thing we have done, really, to tell you the truth, since this matter is there's been a number of new disputes filed, and we've met at the Labor Board last week, Thursday, to conciliate those matters. But our position is still the same. What we're going to do is we're going to jump on the plane, and we're going to go and have a press conference by the Right Honorable Perry Christie's house. Because if we don't get nothing out of this one here will be the last one probably for this week, and we'll be in Nassau.
In other news, there are a few seaplane operations that run regular schedules to Bimini, but only one is owned and operated by U.S. military pilots and seaplane instructors. President of Tropic Ocean Airways, Rob Saravallo, says they began flying to Bimini in June of 2011 and traveled to the island about 4 times a week. The Tropic Ocean crew also offers chartered flights all over the country.
We've gotten anywhere from the rich and the famous and a lot of high-end clients to, just your average person who wants to go over to and hang out in Bimini and go swim with some sharks. That's the reason why we started the scheduled service, because we could sell those seats 4 times a week per seat, as opposed to chartering the entire airplane, which brings the actual cost down, so the average person can get out there and have a good flight to Bimini. In fact, majority of airlines, actually all the other airlines that come into Bimini go into South Bimini. So if you're actually coming into North Bimini, it's much more convenient to jump on a seaplane. You could buy a seat. We'll fly you right into North Bimini. You don't even have to go through TSA or security lines in South Florida, and you land in North Bimini, the harbor, and you actually beat the guys that are going into South Bimini.
Rob says he was inspired to own a seaplane business from childhood and always knew his destination would be the Bahamas. He began traveling to Bimini when he was 15 years old and says he fell in love with the island's laid-back atmosphere.
I joined the Navy when I was 26. I flew F-14s, F-18s, and now I fly the F-5s. I've flown over Iraq. I've traveled around the world in aircraft carriers, but I always wanted to come back and start a seaplane company and fly flights between Fort Lauderdale and Bimini. That was my pride. So when we finally got this thing going, put a lot into it to get it going, and we had it. I just wanted to be able to give back to the island a little bit. So every winter, every Christmas, we actually coordinate with this gentleman named Ryan, who gathers donated presents from families in South Florida, in Fort Lauderdale, Miami. And he's actually a U.S. Customs agent. And he gets 2 huge plane loads of donated presents, and we donate the flights, and we fly 2 plane loads of presents over to Bimini to distribute to the children here. And we call it Santa Seaplane, and we do it every Christmas.
Finally, in news tonight, he is the founder of the Reach Out Ministry annual Boys to Men Conference. For years, he has assisted families of at-risk teenagers, organizing a campaign to reach young men in the community, and he needs your help tonight. After acquiring a building donated by the Grand Bahama Port Authority, Dudley Sade says he is encountering challenges with finishing the Reach Out Community Center and had to eliminate the feeding program, which assists 10 families. Advisor Vicky Martel is asking the public to assist.
I need finished plumbing work done, and I need the bathroom fixtures, and like I said, I need manpower. If there's a company out there who does construction, come take a look, and if they want to complete the building for me, I'll be happy.
Deborah Livingston and Bishop Joseph Hall are also asking the community to lend a helping hand.
I want to appeal to all of the churches here in Grand Bahama and pastors. Many of them would pass by this building, but we entreat you to come, not only to pass by and to look, but we want you to come and come on the inside. And when you come to the building, please bring a check with you, whether it's blank, and when you feel the Spirit of the Lord upon you, you can write the amount in whilst you're there.
If anyone out there that wants to help the Outreach Center, I mean, come one day and paint the wall or put up a sheetrock, and all the churches and communities and different organizations we have on Grand Bahama, if they would participate as well, then we can be, get a lot farther. But at Grand Bahamas, we just want the Outreach Center to know that the partners, on behalf of the partners, the management and the staff, that anything they need to assist with this endeavor, with their endeavors, we're here to support them.
Well, that's a look at stories making news. Stay with us. Megan Shepard joins us next with sports.
This portion of the news is brought to you by Signature Choices, fine lingerie and gift boutique in the 17 Center.